Everybody, it's time for 오정아의 마음톡톡.
Mind 톡톡
마음톡톡.
with none other than 우리 오정아 원장님. 원장님 안녕하세요.
원장님 안녕하세요. Hello.
It's good to see you, Minsu and Laura, as well. And I'm happy to back for this segment.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you back with us here in the studio. So this is the second episode of 오정아의 마음톡톡. Can you maybe remind our listeners of who you are?
Sure. My name is Ojeong-ah. I'm a therapist. I meet children, adults, and couples who have psychological issues and family conflicts at my private practice called Chicago Therapeutic Center, Chicago 심신치유 Center.
All right. So this is obviously a segment that we're going to have every Thursday with you, and we're going to dive into, concerns, issues, especially when it comes to our mental, right? Health.
Our mental.
Right.
Our mentals.
Don't say just our mental.
Yeah, mental health.
Yes, mental health.
네.
Mental health.
So what are we focusing on today?
Last week, we went over the basics of therapy and the different types of the mental health professionals. And today, let's dive into a real life issue.
Okay.
So there is intriguing family issue to share. So can one of you help me out by reading it to the listeners, please?
Yes.
Okay, are you going to do it?
I will step up to the mic.
Okay, don't do any weird voices though.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a
All right.
serious thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Didn't get the note last time. Okay.
All right.
네, 오늘의 사연입니다. My older brother and I, we both survived the same toxic childhood. Predictably, it has affected our mental health negatively. My older brother has depression and cannot maintain a stable job nor relationships. I'm trying hard to sustain my marriage, career, and my own healthy family. His issues have disrupted my emotional health and family life a lot. Recently, I've been keeping him at a distance. He expressed feeling abandoned. Other family members call me selfish and say I'm obligated to help him because I'm, quote unquote, the successful one. I do feel some guilt for not helping more. Is it selfish to prioritize my well being by maintaining distance from my brother?
This is like giving me goosebumps. I actually know somebody who could say exactly the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like this is, unfortunately, something that we do see commonly in a lot of families. It's something that does drive families apart sometimes, right? People's mental health. So yes, 우리 원장님, let's get into today's story.
Yeah, so for today's story, let's refer to this person as Tom. It's clear that growing up in a difficult environment that has had a big impact on family members, especially Tom's brother. It takes a lot of strength to deal with the aftermath of such a tough upbringing. In addition, I understand why he feels guilt in this particular situation when it comes to family issues.
But I think the thing that really stands out for me is this kind of guilt-tripping thing. You know, other family members saying that Tom's being very selfish in his decision. I just kind of, it doesn't sit right at all.
Right. The same with me. I can imagine how heartbreaking it is to hear from his family members that Tom is selfish. From my perspective, it's okay that Tom has chosen to prioritize his own well-being and keep some distance from his brother because of how it has affected his own life. It's important to prioritize self-care, and it doesn't mean you are being selfish. It's a necessary step in healing and growing. It's normal to feel guilt when you are torn between taking care of yourself and helping others, especially when they are family.
Yeah, like as you said, taking care of yourself is very important.
Right.
And I feel like it seems to me that Tom is trying to do that. He's setting up boundaries with his family because he knows that taking care of himself and his family is also very important.
I think so. In psychology, the term boundaries, 인간관계 경계, 우리가 흔히 얘기하는 선을 넘는다라는 얘기가 있죠.
네.
Yeah, it refers to the limits we set for ourselves in our relationships and interactions with others. Boundaries can come in different forms. They can be physical, like personal space and privacy, where we decide how close or far someone can be to us. They can also be emotional, where we determine how much we are willing to share or how much we can handle in terms of other people's emotions.
Well, that's a very clear definition of what boundaries are. Thank you, 원장님.
So before we talk about how to set up healthy boundaries,
네.
I like Tom to think about these questions to reflect his thoughts, emotions, and behaviors related to his family issue.
Yeah, because, not like Laura said, this is a story that you could hear, the person that you know of
Right.
saying and reciting, and this could be very relevant to them. So I'm sure there's maybe listeners out there that could be thinking the same. This is kind of like the situation I'm in. So, 원장님, what are some of the questions, for, let's say, Tom to think about? Maybe the listeners can also follow along and ask themselves these questions.
Sure, that'll be great. And the one, what are the specific challenges you face in your marriage, raising children, and career due to your family dynamics? 2, what thoughts and emotions come up beside guilt when you think about not helping your brother more? 3, how have you tried to help your brother in the past, and then what were the results? 4, what does it mean to prioritize your own well-being? If you realize that you really need healthy boundaries after you asked these questions to yourself, it's time for setting boundaries.
Those are some really helpful questions, I
Yeah.
think, for reflection.
I agree.
Self-reflection. And setting boundaries, though. I mean, we can set boundaries. We talked about this yesterday, Minsu, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just yesterday. Setting boundaries, it's great in theory, but when you're coming to set boundaries with family members, that can be really, really difficult. Really difficult. Especially, I would say, especially in Korean culture.
Right.
Or if you have a really close family.
왜냐면 한국에서 단체 생활 is embedded into our society, right?
맞아요.
This is something that you experience anywhere you go.
Yeah.
School, like 군대 for guys, right? And even like the company. 네.
Definitely. It can be challenging, but it's worth it to do that. To establish healthy boundaries, here are some key things to consider. It's important to understand your needs and values. Take some time to reflect on what you require for your emotional well-being and what aspects are crucial in maintaining healthy relationships. This could include factors like respect, trust, open communication, and feeling safe. Another thing is to identify any unhealthy patterns within your family. This involves recognizing behaviors or dynamics that are harmful or toxic to you. This could include things like constant criticism, so 계속적인 비판, disrespect, 무례함, and invasion of the privacy, 사생활 침해, or emotional abuse, 감정적 학대. By becoming aware of these negative patterns, you can begin to establish boundaries that protect your well-being and foster healthier relationships moving forward.
Okay, so to know your needs, the values, as well as families, unhealthy patterns, these are really important to define.
Right.
How else can we go about establishing healthy boundaries?
Yeah, it's essential to make boundaries clear and specific. Spend the time to determine which behaviors or actions are unacceptable or uncomfortable for you. To truthful with yourself about what will and will not tolerate in your relationships. It could involve stating that you will not accept verbal insult, like 언어적 모욕, physical aggression, 신체적 공격, invasion of personal space, like 개인 공간을 침범하는 것. Like by being specific about your boundaries, you are communicating your needs and expectations clearly to others. So this clear realization helps establish mutual understanding and promotes healthier interactions, ensuring that your well-being is respected and protected. In addition, when it comes to communicating your boundaries, it's essential to do it assertively. Approach your family members with respect and directly express your boundaries to them. So use I statements. 한국말로 하면 문장을 나는 뭐뭐 한다로 시작하는 문장들을 얘기합니다. I statement to explain how their actions impact you personally and what you expect from them moving forward. For example, you can say, I feel hurt and disrespected when you raise your voice at me. I would appreciate it if you can have calm and respectful discussion instead. By using I statements, you take ownership of your feelings and avoid sounding confrontational. This approach promotes open and constructive communication, allowing your family members to understand your perspective and the importance of respecting your boundaries.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be able to also use language when you say, I feel this way when this behavior happens. Because when you say, you did this, so I feel like this, that just causes more conflict, right? So it's very important, first of all, to be honest with yourself, use I statements to communicate with your family. When you've set your boundaries, what should you do if and when a family member, because I mean, I don't know about you, but when I came to Korea, I was very shocked at how little boundaries there were between like families.
그렇죠.
Like my mother-in-law would do things and I'm like, nope, that's not okay. These days, because she's very close, she'll either ask me if it's okay or she won't do it or I won't be so against it. But what do we do when and if a family member does cross these boundaries?
Right. It's important to set up consequences if someone crosses your boundaries. So 누군가가 이제 당신의 선을 뭔가 넘어왔을 때 대처하는 방식에 대해서 알아보겠습니다. You should think about what outcomes you feel are appropriate for different situations and make sure your family members understand them. So, for example, you can say, if you continue to invade my privacy by going through my personal belongings without permission, I will need to limit our time together until I feel respected. By clearly communicating the outcomes, you are setting expectations for how you want to be treated. It's crucial to be ready to follow through with those consequences if necessary, as it shows that you are serious about maintaining your boundaries and taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Also, like seeking support can be incredibly helpful. Reach out to trusted friends, join support groups, or consider seeking therapy to guide you through this process. Having support from others who understand can provide valuable guidance, encouragement, and a safe place to share your experiences. They can offer insight, strategies, and different perspectives that can help you navigate setting boundaries effectively.
Yeah. So a very good idea to establish the consequences and follow through with them, right? If someone crosses let's say, your boundaries. Also, like you said, 원장님, it's always helpful to have a support network, people that could help you, try to keep those boundaries. Maybe can you go over why it's important to take care of yourself while maintaining these boundaries then?
Sure. Taking care of yourself is essential when it comes to setting boundaries with your family. You should engage in activities that nurture your well-being, such as pursuing hobbies that you enjoy, spending time with supportive friends. Also, practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing or mindfulness. Self-care absolutely helps you recharge, reduce stress, and maintain emotional strength. It reminds you of your worth and reinforces your commitment to the boundaries you've set. And by practicing self-care, you'll be better equipped to navigate challenging situations and maintain healthy relationships with your family members. You should remember that you deserve to prioritize your own well-being and take time for yourself.
Yeah.
I like that.
Preaching to the choir, 원장님. We always love a bit of self-care. But it's easy to forget to look after ourselves.
맞아요.
Especially everyone's busy and we use that as an excuse not to do it. So thank you for reminding us. And so today we've covered establishing boundaries, with family members specifically, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it can be challenging. But if you develop a plan and have a good support network and prioritize yourself without feeling guilty, it can be done in a healthy and productive way.
Yeah. So very informative, us learning here how to set up healthy boundaries when you need to, and you do need to sometimes, right? Laura, expect walls to be put up between you and I.
선 넘어지지 마세요.
I am inspired to do so.
Don't cross the sun. The sun is a dot to you.
Right?
You have crossed it so many times.
The sun is right over at the entrance of BFM for you.
The sun is in the sky.
조심하세요. All right, so definitely learned a lot from you, 원장님, today. Thank you so much, and we look forward to next week's segment. Thank you so much.
Sure. I'll see you all next Thursday then.
감사합니다.
수고하셨습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much.